Tom Taylor continues to bring together his DC Comics work in this new issue of Adventures of Superman, throwing Superman right into it with Ultraman. The speed at which the series is moving, with only 2 issues so far, is rather surprising, especially when you take into account Taylor's other work and current work at DC, where it's a bit more of a slow burn and build to it before all of the action explodes. But I guess having all of the story already set out in his previous run and the simplicity of the story, Ultraman killing Superman has to go and stop him, makes it a bit easier to get right into the action. A surprising twist happens this issue as well, and the big threat of Ultraman is immediately dealt with, and dealt with in a way that really replaces one threat with another, that threat being the Injustice Superman. This new threat is obviously a Tom Taylor creation, and also a character who has closer ties to John than Ultraman, ties that I'm really looking forward to seeing explored, since the Injustice Superman never actually had his son, and his son and Lois's death were the thing that helped tip him over the edge to become the dictator he is. Perhaps this could lead to a moment where John helps rehabilitate the Injustice Superman, thus changing that universe, especially since he will most definitely be horrified a version of his father would have turned to a dictator so easily, so I'm looking forward to seeing that sort of conversation they'll have. John's new electric blue powers also finally kick in, and while we still aren't privy to how he really got them or is getting them, we do learn that they are activated via rage, a very un-Superman-like trait, so I'm looking forward to seeing Taylor explore that and explain that in the coming issues. Clayton Henry's artwork continues to be just fantastic for the book, delivering some really cool action set pieces this issue, and Taylor's twist in the final pages is done wonderfully, with a cool full page spread capturing the moment, and his colourful, bold line work on the Injustice Superman's costume look fantastic, and it's a costume that's very much suited to Clayton's style, and I really like all of the armoring on it, and like the unique design of like the S symbol that he has. I think it's a lot of fun seeing that come back, and it's really great in this style. Adventures of Superman John Kent issue 2 got right into the meat of the story and swerved into the next arc with a fantastic twist I didn't see coming this early on in the book, but one I'm excited to explore in the coming issues. I'm going to give this issue a 10 out of 10. Adventures of Superman John Kent issue 2 finds John remembering his imprisonment on Earth 3 for years, trapped in a volcano. Ultraman comes to gloat, hoping John missed him as the boy tells him that he can't stay there. Ultraman gleefully asks what John is going to do about it, as in the present, Jay talks with Lois about having to share John with the world. Lois tells him that it's the hardest part, but she tends to have her own crusades and wrongs to right. So when Clark ever goes away, she overworks to the point of burnout, so she has less time to fill her brain with all of the horrible scenarios she can imagine. Lois does tell Jay to get John to promise that he will come back, since Superman never breaks a promise. John meanwhile finds Red Tornado using Mr. Terrific's quantum tunnel tech to search through the multiverse for Ultraman. Val knows that the only problem is that Ultraman only travels via the multiverse after he has murdered a Superman. John shows Val the Phantom Zone projector he retrieved from the armory, telling him that he had to snap a neutron lock to get it, and his father won't be happy about that. Red Tornado alerts them to Ultraman killing again, and they need to go now, so Val tells John to quickly say his goodbyes so John sees his mother, who isn't happy about him leaving, but she knows his father would have understood, despite not being okay with it as well. She knows that if he loses years again, his father will probably fight all of space and time to undo it. She gives John a sunstone crystal, telling him it contains a message should he need it. Lois tells her Earth 2 counterpart to look after her son, as John tells Jay that he must face Ultraman. He asks if Jay wants anything from the parallel Earth, and Jay says he wants the weirdest postcard John can find. He asks John to promise that he'll be back, kissing him as John promises that he will return. The 3 heroes head through the portal to another Earth, beginning their search for Ultraman. John asks the heroes why it was him specifically that was chosen for this mission and not another John from the multiverse. Val tells him that it's because time is the same no matter the universes, so most John Kents are still too young, and while there is another older John out there, his universe is infested with the undead. John thinks that fate is leading leading him to Ultraman again, but Red Tornado doesn't think so, since fate is unavoidable. But John has a choice here, and him choosing to risk everything to save others has nothing to do with fate, and everything to do with the person he is. She wishes that she and Clark could have met their John, as Tornado trails off in her sentence, warning the Superman that Ultraman is coming. It's too late, as Ultraman rips right through Tornado, throwing her to the ground. Val rushes to save Lois as Ultraman attacks John, causing him to drop the Phantom Zone generator. With John dealt with, Ultraman retrieves the projector, as Val finds the broken Red Tornado, who tells him not to worry about her and to deal with Ultraman, who finds them on the ground, activating the Phantom Zone projector. He tells the heroes that he warned them what would happen if they kept showing up, blasting them with a projector and sending them to the Phantom Zone. Val tells John not to let the villain win, which prompts Ultraman to ask if this John is his John, the one he kept prisoner all those years ago. John tells him that he never was his, blasting the villain with his heat vision. Ultraman thinks him banishing his robot mother to Limbo really ticked him off, revealing that John blasting him also damaged the projector, so he won't be using it to get the heroes out. Ultraman grabs John, telling him that he's still holding back since he's got the same weakness his father has: compassion. Ultraman fights with John through the city, telling him that he'll never be able to defeat him since he isn't prepared to kill him. John thinks he's wrong, feeling a rage build up inside of him as the blue electric powers come back. He smashes Ultraman in the face with the new power, beating him down into the ground as he asks the villain why he really thinks compassion is a weakness, since he can't think of anything weaker than caring for one's own self. John thinks that Ultraman has all of this power, yet he's still ruled through fear, and has absolutely no strength because of it. John feels the electric power subside, weakening him and causing him to fall unconscious. Ultraman recovers, finding that's the hardest anyone has ever hit him, and he's pissed off some people across multiple dimensions. He doesn't know what type of power that was, but it obviously took a lot out of John, and he wasn't ready to deal with it, and now he won't get a chance to learn what it was. Ultraman begins strangling the boy, assuring Superman he's not going to kill him, he's going to take him back to the volcano prison, and since he's taking this personally, he's going to go and find his Lois and make sure she suffers. Suddenly, the Injustice Superman grabs Ultraman, telling him that he won't be doing that as he snaps Ultraman's neck, killing him instantly. The Superman asks if John is okay as he recognizes who John is, telling the boy that he has his mother's eyes.